Right. You never saw any of these, right?
No.
Okay. These early ones. The first one is Darian Weeks versus Lohan White Lion Lianesse. And you didn't watch it? Didn't see it because it weren't on telly?
Wasn't on the...
Have you got the results up, please, on the interweb? Please,
no.
Can you get them, please?
Have you seen it and you don't know
who
won?
I can't remember that. I know that Lohan won. I can't remember how, though. I think it was a split decision is what my brain's telling me. Could you confirm, please? I'm pretty sure it was a split decision by the White Lion. Weren't much going on in this fight, is the truth.
Yep, split decision.
Okay.
Or Johan Lianesse.
Oh, hang on. I helped myself here. There you go. Look, you've got the Muscle Business 10 shout winning. Now, the only thing I've got to say about it is look on the left-hand side, so the Darian Weeks coach. Look at the hands out. He's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What kind of judges have we got in here? It was brilliant. He's so confused. But was I confused? Not really. It was just a bit of one of those fights where I didn't have much reason. Yeah. I couldn't really pick one over the other, really. I weren't watching it in immense detail, but from what I saw, I just went, well, I don't know. At the end of it, you normally have an idea, even if you've just seen someone on top of someone for a bit, you have an idea and go, probably that guy. Honestly, I didn't know. So when it was split decision, I went, well, yeah, I didn't know either. Anyway, we can move on to the next fight. Okay. Melisa, Super Melly. No, Melly would be 2 L's. Super Melee, but Melee's not spelt like that. Super Melee Martinez versus Elise Reed. How would you say Mely, please?
Don't know.
Right. This version of don't know or not trying is crap because you're more the announcing sort of you're better at words and stuff. Well, anyway, Melisa Martinez versus Elise Reed. I know that Reed won this because I can remember. And, there you go. And after it, she was going, I'm here. I'll do it for you. Ready? I'm here. I'm here, strawweight. I'm here. That's the version. Exactly like that. So she's here. I actually thought that Melisa Martinez was actually all right. Wasn't too bad. You know what? They were both all right. But it was still a crap fight that I got bored of. But they were both okay. I tell you what, they were okay. Their martial arts skills, both of them looked half decent. You definitely could tell they train and stuff like that, which ain't always the case, as you know. So they did look okay. But you just heard this throughout the fight, like this, like. Because it was just weakness. Next fight. Chad, the monster, Anheliger versus Alatengheili, the Mongolian knight. Right. This, from memory, the Mongolian knight won this. Is that right?
That's right, yeah.
Was that decision as well?
Yeah.
This was a good fight. This was a good fight. And it wasn't amazing, but it was a good fight. And the commentary team were going on and on about Alatengheili. Do you know he's one?
I think you pronounced it right, yeah. Alatengheili, yeah.
Alatengheili, they were very talking about him a lot, right? Because he's powerful and this, that, and the other. Honestly, they were going on about him a lot and really ignoring Chad, I would say. If I was Chad, I'd be going, what's happened here? And you would think that means that he was getting mashed. Now, he was, right? He was getting mashed. You can see on that picture on the right, look, you can see the blood coming out and everything. There was some pretty good shots going on. So he was getting done. I can't deny it. However, I think he's really good. I think he's a good fighter. He's got his own style. I think he was decent, and I don't think they chatted enough about how good or what Chad was doing, just because he was kind of losing on the power side of it. But he's got the good technique. You know, he has his shoulder here blocking things. He's got some good little bits of head movement. I like the way he mixed up his strikes. I actually was watching him, and he was more non-run of the mill. Whereas the Alatengheili, he's not crap, but he was what you expect to see. And the other guy had a bit of saying about him. He reminded me a little bit of Lando Venata, a little bit like that, but without the flowing boot. But very similar. You know, was getting done, but showed a lot whilst getting beaten up. Do you know what I mean? He's pretty good. They're both good, and it was a decent fight. So he won Alatengheili, the Mongolian knight, and it was a pretty good fight. And I'm guessing on all of these, you ain't got nothing to say. Do you remember if any of these other fights from these two? Have you got impressions of these two from previous fights you've seen?
I think I might have seen Anheliger before, but and I've definitely seen Alatengheili, but I don't want to speak.
They got the same name.
Basically, yeah. But yeah, I not enough to have a chat about it.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that was a pretty good fight. That next fight is Norma, the Immortal Dumont versus Danyelle Wolf. Check out the Danyelle spelling.
Yep.
Like your beard trying to be non-run-of-the-mill. Like a cheerleader thing. Now, what I'm going to say here is, right, she was off Contender Series and all that. This was, right, a Golden Glove, Danyelle Wolf, Golden Gloves boxing champ. So fist boxing, yeah, that's the experience. That's the discipline. Moved into MMA against Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Right? There's an example of her work, medals and stuff, right? That's what this fight was. Here's another example of, okay, well, she's got boxing gloves on, though.
Nah, you can leave it on that one.
You leave this one on for a bit?
Yeah. Looks like she uses the Philly shell. Yeah, uses the shoulder roll.
Exactly. I'll take a note of this slide number so we can get back to it quick, nice and quick when we need it. So I'm bringing that up on purpose. So because of that matchup, we're talking about, you know, Golden Gloves. I'm a boxer against Jits. What would you say happened? I know you've got the result, but what would you say? How do you think that fight would have gone down then? Give me a couple of examples, scenarios.
Well, I mean, the two scenarios are one, the jiu-jitsu girl struggles to get the takedown and gets her face peppered. And the other one is the jiu-jitsu girl doesn't struggle to get the takedown and has a way with her on the mat. They're the two likely outcomes. Yeah,
no worries. Well, the girl in the grey is the Brazilian jiu-jitsu and the one in the blue is the boxer. And believe me, that's what this fight was like. The boxer got smashed. Look, not knocked out, but knocked down and punched hard regularly. Got done. You know, lost the fist. I'm going to ask you, and lost the fight. I want to ask a question, and I apologize because I always put you on the spot of this. We never plan any of this. The Golden Gloves thing. Roughly, do you know what that is? What it means? Roughly.
Not really, no. I mean, it's some sort of US based amateur tournament, I believe, right?
I guess.
But what it actually is. So, for example, over here, I think we have, you know, the ABAs, which is the if you're an ABA champion, it basically means like you're a national champion. But whether that's the same in America, I would highly doubt, just because of the scale of the country, and so the chances are, you know, if you had, say, somebody who won all their bouts all the way in Maine, and then they had to travel all the way over to Oregon, you know, to fight in the final. It's just, you know, too much. So I think they probably have regional tournaments. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. This is purely guesswork. But I imagine just because of the size of America, right, that they probably have regional or state meets essentially. So Texas, and if you win that tournament, you are like the Golden Glove champion of Texas. Maybe I have no idea. That's just what I assume, because like I say, you couldn't have a national level, I wouldn't have thought, until you sort of like come up for Olympic selection or something like that. Just because in this country, I remember when say my brother used to have amateur fights, he would go all the way up to Stoke or something like that to have a fight, or wherever. Now that was a few hours drive, but there's a big difference between a few hours drive and, like I say, having to travel halfway across America, right? You'd have to set off about 3 weeks in advance. So I imagine they don't probably have a similar setup to what we have. But yeah, I mean, I have no idea what Golden Gloves is. I've no.
Okay, well, look,
I can't say how prestigious it is. So
yeah,
it obviously means something, and it sounds pretty cool, right? I'm a Golden Gloves champion. Sounds amazing.
does sound good, yeah.
The truth is, it could also just mean that, especially female boxing, it could also mean that she basically just beat 2 other girls and she's a national champion or something. So
right, okay, I got a question for you. Try not to go too mad just because we don't want to, not that you're boring, but we don't want to bore people. But I do have a question about this, right? But first off, this Danyelle Wolf didn't look crap. Very similar to, honestly, it was a bit similar to Holly Holm, not the exact same shout.
I thought you said not crap.
Wait, though. Okay, I knew I was going to get done for that. But she did look all right. But I mean, if you have a look at, say, but she did look all right. You know what I mean?
She has got a good fit, like, not because of that picture. I actually don't like pictures like that. But if you look at, the one when she's doing the double bicep, but yeah, I mean, she looks amazing.
No,
listen, her shoulder definition there is fantastic.
Her physique is amazing, mate. Like, no joke, right? She looked like CrossFit. Holly Holm looks a bit CrossFit-y, right, as well.
She's a bit more sinewy, isn't she?
Yeah, this woman looks solid. She looked a bit like a cheerleader. She was tall, lean. I mean, she's definitely trains a lot, or always has trained. She looks like someone who always trains. Now, look, she was okay, a little bit Holly Holm. She had the shouts and all that as well. But my question to you is, if you look at the bottom right shot, I mean, look at that, getting cracked with that. What are those arms doing, right? But I've got a question for you.
It looks like she's doing the naked pose. So it looks like she's trying to recreate the naked pose in the bottom right picture.
Yeah, right, exactly. Exactly. Which is no problem. You don't have to try and recreate it. We got it. No bother, right? But my question to you is, it seemed like, because you've got Dumont, who's MMA striking, and BJJ, and she also did take this fight to the ground, I believe, in round 3, and elbowed her in the head. So she kind of done her with striking in round 1 and 2, and then some, on the ground as well. So did a good mix of stuff. How much does this pure boxing skill? I know she does MMA now, but how does it? Why didn't it translate better? Why wasn't her? You would have thought her boxing would have mashed up Dumont, because it's not that Dumont can't strike. We know she trained striking, but you would have thought they were levels apart. But as you can see, she was getting it a lot. Now, a couple of things on the commentary. DC chatting about 10-ounce gloves, 4-ounce gloves. You can't roll like that because your shoulder rolling like that and you ain't got 10-ounce gloves on and all that stuff. Any comments on why it didn't translate better for her? It weren't like Dumont was doing loads of kickboxing and spinning boot and everything. It was just, normal striking, but it working.
Well, I can't say because I haven't seen the fight, so I ain't gonna.
Yeah, but in general, translating, boxing into MMA striking.
I mean, I know people will say there's, range and distance issues, right? Because you got stuff like leg kicks, and you've got to worry about takedowns as well. The gloves is a real thing because obviously in boxing you will use the glove as a sort of a buffer for defensive stuff, which you can't really afford to do that with kind of small little 4-ounce gloves. You've got to be really accurate to make sure that you're catching the shot completely perfectly. And even then, going for a 4-ounce glove is going to create more impact than going for a 10-ounce glove or an 8-ounce.
Still hurt, right? When you're blocking and it itches yourself, still hurts a lot, right?
Yeah. So all those things are are real. I think a lot of it depends on how confident the person is in the other disciplines. So if you're just boxing, but you've got one eye or always in the back of your head a concern of a takedown because you know your takedown defense is a bit ropey, or if someone does get you on the mat, you know your neck's there for the taking. You're not really going to be focusing on your boxing, right? You're going to be focusing on those aspects more, going, oh, I can't afford to get taken down. These moments where you might think, oh, I could attack there, you're not going to attack. So you're going to think, but what if it don't, you know, what if she slips under and shoots in on double leg, then I'm going to be end up on my ass. So I just think it comes from a confidence kind of point of view as to how well it translates. Because if you look at people who have got good boxing, people like Pete Yang, it works beautifully.
Yeah.
That's because he's got confidence in the other aspects, right? He's got brilliant takedown defense. He's got his own good takedowns. And so he doesn't have to worry so much. He doesn't have to be distracted so much from his boxing. So he can just flow. He can just fight naturally. Doesn't even have to think about it. You know, one of the best boxing, Jailton Turner, for example. He's another guy, you know, the tarantula. Again, he just seems to be a guy who's like, well, I'll just do fist, and if you take me down, I've got other things to offer. I haven't got to panic, I haven't got to worry, so I can just fight. So maybe that's it, but it is possible that she's just not that good at boxing.
It wasn't, well, of course, yeah, and as you say, and it was, I was asking you generally, but it would be better had you'd seen the fight, of course, as you said. But it did seem like, looking at the two fighting, that Wolf had better boxing. It did seem like that, you know, the stance, the way she held her hands, the way she threw her punch, all of it looked better, but she was getting beat up. So it was a little bit weird, but it actually made for an all right fight. And if you're all good, we'll move on to the next fight. Oh,
give me a couple of minutes. Now go on.
So that's that fight. Was all right, fairly interesting. Dumont won by, it was decision. Can you double check? It was decision,
yeah,
that win,
yeah.
right? Yeah. And we're on to the prelims. I'm presuming you've seen these fights, but we shall find out when I click the next slide. Okay, this was on the broadcast, so I know you've seen this. Jake, the prototype Collier versus Chris Beast Boy Barnett. Take it away. What are we saying here? Hey, you know what? This was good, wasn't it?
It was a good fight. Barnett unbelievably missed weight for a heavyweight fight. Weighed in, you know, pound and a half, whatever it is, overweight. I think 267.5 on it, and your limit's 265. You get a pound leeway. I think even at heavyweight, you get that pound leeway. But anyway, he missed weight, which is a surprise because you can see he's really, you know, shredded and cut himself down. Is, you know, I think there must be something wrong with the scales because I can't see any sort of anywhere else where he could have lost the pound.
He's got nowhere to go. There's nothing to lose.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Yeah, I mean, it's
what do you want? You know?
That's all efficient muscle, right? So there must be something wrong with the scales. Jake, the prototype Collier. Well, a prototype is you make a prototype before deciding on whether you want to put something into mass production, right?
True.
I don't think they're going to be putting this into mass production. Having
well,
said
no, they
that,
have put it into mass production. He's definitely
one big mass production, just one big solid one. But honestly,
that's the bit he did agree.
I actually think he's all right, Jake Collier. I know he's fought at middleweight and stuff like that. I actually think he's pretty decent at heavyweight. It kind of shouldn't work. He should be massively undersized, and he possibly still is, especially if his opponent's coming in overweight. But I actually think he was pretty good, pretty snappy. Was standing in the pocket and trading, so he kind of had no issues about being maybe the naturally smaller guy. Whether he is the naturally smaller guy, I'm not sure, because Barnett could probably, if he ate right and trained right, he could probably get down to lightweight. But
because he's not very tall, is he? He's short.
5'9" or something like that.
Right.
5'9".
Okay, well there you go. Yeah.
I mean, if he decided to do a cannoneer, I'm sure he could get down to welterweight at least. But he ain't gonna. So
he couldn't get down to heavyweight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's got to get down to heavyweight first. Yeah. But I actually thought this was a really exciting fight. Back and forth.
Wasn't it
good? Collier, I think, went all out for the finish in the first round. Blew his gasket and struggled late thereon. And that kind of, I'm not going to say it led to the finish, but I do think he was out of puff, and that probably, if he hadn't rocked Barnett early in the fight and unloaded on him, and just had a bit more of a, structured sort of energy expenditure throughout the fight, he probably would have got a decision. I think I get the feeling if these two fought 10 times, Collier would probably win 6 or 7 of them. But Barnett rode the storm. His mouth looked all smashed in. He said his jaw was smashed in after the fight.
He's come back now. He said his jaw ain't mashed. That's what the commentary was saying. He said that the inside of his cheek, the chunk of that had come out, where he said he probably bit down on one of the punches, the Collier punches and whatever, and there was a chunk out of his cheek. So that was the face he was doing was him trying to. He's just biting the inside of his cheek, playing with it, if you like. So he said there was a chunk of flesh out of his inside of his cheek. That's what it was. He ain't got broken jaw out. Yeah,
well, that's good news. So yeah, a really good fight, entertaining fight. Like I said, I still think that skill set wise, I'd probably just say that Collier is probably a bit of a tidier package, but that don't matter sometimes. And Barnett was brilliant. Didn't feel sorry for himself. Didn't do a Leon Edwards. Didn't feel sorry for himself in the corner. Went out there, got to win. Really exciting fight. Good for him. Good chance as well at the end.
It was good chat.
I know he said he's got a lot of padding and stuff, but that celebration where he landed on his backside, I just looked at it and I just went, one day, that is just. He's gonna do a Johnny Walker with that. He's gonna end up in hospital with that. That is sooner or later something's gonna smash, in his back there. I mean, honestly, I'd really advise him not to repeat that too often.
Well, he does it every time. You're hoping he don't win then, because I think if he wins, that's the agreement.
No, I actually like him. Like I said, I thought his chats were brilliant at the end of the fight. Really passionate. We said it before, didn't we, about people making the most of the moment. And look, I hate this dance. I hate it. It's only actually it's brilliant. I've changed my mind.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, this is the thing, right? Stuff like this will next time he's on a card, people will go, he's the guy who was drinking the beer afterwards or done that dance. Right. Or you have to make the most of these moments. And these people that moan and go, oh yeah, well I'm not getting the shine or what have you, or the good graces of the UFC. It's like, well, you kind of got to help yourself sometimes. And if it don't come naturally to you, I'm not suggesting you start doing somersaults and landing on your ass and stuff if that's not you. But some people have just got that charisma and that draw, and he's one of those guys, right? He's also got that appeal because he seems like a little undersized guy fighting all the big bullies, at heavyweight. So he's kind of got a lot going for him. Brilliant. He's got a lot going for him, and he, like I say, he made the most of it. Good for him.
We see what I mean, though, right? We agreed it about Tuivasa. We don't like the shoey; it's getting on our nerves. And then we went, no, we do like it because it's now something to associate. Tuivasa's fighting, shoeys, blah blah blah. And it's the same with this guy.
Well, look, he's leaving the stage, right? And everyone's got their mobile phones out trying to catch a picture of him and have a selfie with him. He made the most of that moment. So good for him. He deserves it because he lost half his cheek for it. And probably broke his coccyx or his pelvis.
Yeah, I should think so.
Yeah. So he deserved it, and a shame for Collier because I think he's got a bit of a ropey record since he went to heavyweight, and I definitely don't want to see him cut. Cause I actually think he's one of the tidier looking heavyweights, style wise and stuff. I actually think he's good, unbelievable, but he's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I do as well, and that's why the reason Barnett won that fight is simply because. The grit and determination and not giving up. He could have easily lost that, and he didn't. He found a way to win by surviving and doing what he needed to do. Was it second round TKO, something like that?
Yeah. I think Collier kind of shot him for a takedown. Barnett sprawled, ended up on top, and then it was just. To be fair to him, Collier really was trying to move. When there's a few times I think the ref said, as well. Yeah, there's a few times where the ref said, you got to improve your position, but he just spent about 2 minutes on the bottom, didn't he? And he was eating some heavy leather at times, and it was just like, you're not going to get out of this, are you? You just haven't got the breath. You wish you were back at middleweight. So yeah, that was all she wrote.
Enjoyable.
Yeah, really good fight. Really good.
And Barnett has given us things to chat about, and he's given everybody stuff to remember and recognize and look forward to when he fights again. And that is important. And we've said this before, and we all know this, but they can't wear their own shorts and Chuck Liddell ice shorts and all that. Can't do all that. So they all look the same, right? But he don't. He's short. He's big. He looks weird him doing, because he's got some, I tell you, he's got some good kicking. Tell you now, the guy can kick good. He's got good booting, and so he does things that are a little bit weird, like very athletic for a guy that looks like that. He's got a good personality. He's bubbly. When he gets his opportunity, he does chats. He don't mumble into the mic. He comes alive and he chats. And all of these things, regardless of where he is on that card, will make you remember him, and they will move him up that card, because people want to see that. They'll pay to see that sort of thing, and that will move him up that card. Quick and all, as long as he wins fights, even if he don't win,
especially at heavyweight, talent, talent starved division. And he's he might not have the, unfortunately, he might not have the, I'm not going to say the fighting skills, I'm going to say the physique and the tools to make the most of his fighting skills.
The physical attributes, right?
Yeah, to sort of make the most of his marketability and stuff like that. So kind of got these things where you're like, this guy's like a really exciting fighter, but he's got no charisma, something like that. Or they might be a really boring fighter, but they got some charisma. Chael Sonnen, for example. And so, but I think that he's one of those guys where he's fun and marketability are going to probably be a bit higher than what he's.
Right. Absolutely.
His physical attributes allow him to achieve.
Imagine a fight between him and Tuivasa, the two stars.
You know what? That would be good. That would be good.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. You're happy to see this bloke fight again, right? And Tuivasa.
You know that the loser would be doing a shoey or down in a pint of beer with the other one, doing a crap dance. I mean, Tuivasa does crap dances as well. That's the fight to make. I know Tuivasa's way, way ahead of him, but just make that fight anyway.
Yeah, he is at the moment. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. But I think he's brilliant. So.
Yeah,
he's been agreed, and look, he said that the canvas, the octagon, is softer than you think and stuff like that, so it takes some of the strain out of that win pose. But that win pose, you're on a hide into injury. There is no doubt that is a very strange thing to do. But again, it's a striking visual that makes you go, bloody hell, if he continues to do
it didn't make me go bloody hell. It kind of made me go bloody hell. There's a difference.
Well, of course, you kind of,
yeah, that got to hurt. Yeah, for sure.
Let's have some other ones. Gaethje backflip off the cage always makes me go
GSP. Michael Chandler,
knees bending in.
Yeah, Michael Chandler's got the same problem with his feet not landing flush on the floor.
Yeah, and then
the classic one, obviously, Johnny Walker actually really injuring himself.
Actually smashing his shoulder out,
Shoulder. So there are a few. Brad Pickett, when he used to run up and do the spin, that's the best one. But I always used to think one day, I know he doesn't do it up the cage, but I always thought he's just going to get one of his toes caught in the cage or something like that. And
it's possible. I'm saying, risky. Risky. The win celebrations are good, right? They make it exciting and all that. But you don't have to do... There's other win celebrations you could do that are just as amazing.
All right.
Right?
That one. Right. What about Hen and Brown?
Oh,
that's the worst one ever.
Yeah. Well, what about?
I hated that guy because of that. I was like, I really hope I don't win, so I've got to put up with. Here's that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say OSP.
OSP, yeah, that's that
terrible.
One. Yeah,
I flipping hate that move. What's that move? But speaking of Barral, my favourite, Anderson Silva. What about the guitar thing he used to do?
Oh, yeah.
Betch's got a good one. Look, we'll do a separate podders on it. We got to move on, right? I'll move on. That were good. That
But that
fight.
just goes to show you, right? We've just spoke for like 15 minutes on the first fight on the prelims. Why? Now, I bet you, I don't know what the next fight is, but put it up. I bet it ain't going to be 15 minutes. I'll put it up.
You make a very, very good point, though. Absolutely. You are absolutely bang on. Denis Tiuliulin versus Jamie the Nightwolf Pickett.
It was all right, but I ain't got much to say about this fight.
Me neither.
Right.
But it was okay.
Well, I'll just sum it up quickly. That Pickett, he seems a bit timid in the cage, bit easily
bullied.
Bullied around the cage. Yeah, and I think that's what that Tiuliulin basically did in the end. He just basically went, I can unload on this guy. And when I think he got a point taken off, which I think was an unfair point. I think it was for a couple of low strikes, maybe. He had a point taken off, and after that, he just kind of went through caution to the wind, didn't he? And I mean, that Pickett. I mean, when you look at him, good physique, looks like a big, strong guy, especially at that weight. He just looks intimidated. Is the truth. He gets in there, and it's almost like he's trying to fight people off rather than fight people. So, so good win for this fella, Tiuliulin. I've forgotten that referee's name, Mark Beltran. I mean, they might want to get him an ECG.
Well, hang on. Mark Beltran.
Joey Beltran? No, that's the fighter, Joey. Who is it? It is Beltran, though, isn't it?
Mike, I think, isn't it?
Mike. Well, it's close enough, Mark. Is there a fight called Mark Beltran?
Yeah, he's on the screen now.
Joey Beltran was the heavyweight guy, right?
Yeah. The one who... No, he weren't heavyweight. Was he heavyweight or was he 205?
And then he went down to light heavy, didn't he? Joey Beltran. Anyway, doesn't matter. I think he does bare knuckle now. But anyway,
let's just stick with Mr. Beltran.
Yeah, Mr. Beltran will do. Anyway, I mean, that is I mean, you can picture him sitting on the toilet trying to squeeze out a particularly stubborn turd with that face.
Yeah, I bet he does have some, doesn't he?
And he must do. He's a bit of a unit, isn't he?
I think he's... I'm not 100%. Obviously we don't know these things, so I don't want to chat too much about it. But I think he's a military guy, I believe. An ex-military bloke. So, yeah.
He looks brilliant.
Yeah, he does look brilliant, doesn't he? Yeah.
I've seen pictures of him on Twitter, just like when he's out and about and stuff. I'm like, he looks amazing. He's the kind of guy that if I saw on the street, I'd go, he looks wicked. Looks like some sort of old warrior or something like that. But
yeah, does do. Yeah, like Asterix or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he looks like Obelix, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Actually, that's a good one. He does look like Obelix, yeah.
But
now,
go on.
He won this Tiuliulin, what was it, a decision, sorry, or was it a TKO? I can't remember.
No, he got TKO, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah.
Can you double check that?
TKO at the end of round 2. So I mean, he got the point taken off,
and then he went nuts, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, and then he went a bit crazy.
Oh yeah, he got him up against the cage and kept going, kneed him in the face, pulled him down for a knee. That dropped Pickett, and then he, followed up with a few strikes. Yeah, all right, I remember. Pretty sure that was the fight. Might not be, but there you go. Next one.
Yep.
Okay, you can see this got performance of the night. Jailton, Maladino Almeida versus Anton, the pleasure man, brilliant. Turkalj.
Gigolo or something.
I get all these wrong. It might not be his nickname. Right. Now, the muscle business, the Jailton Almeida, he dealt with this pretty easily, right? A jits sort of bloke. But is this guy, and there's a lot of hype on him now, it seems. Everyone's going a bit nuts over him. But is this another guy that's going to get exposed at some point, and with his lack of all-round skills, and he's going to have no breath in round 3? And what are we saying?
Well, firstly, it was catch weight.
That's a bit predictor. I can't predict what's going to happen in the future. But what I'm saying is he looked wicked against this guy. I'm not saying that Turkalj is crap. I ain't saying that. The guy looked impressive. There's no doubt about it. He went in, done his job, dealt with it. But I ain't going to go nuts because, like we said about Chimaev before, I ain't seen this guy tested with, breath and all sorts yet. We'll see.
Well, I think it says it was a catch weight at 220 pounds.
Really?
Yeah, I
Didn't
mean,
look that big, did they?
that's what I
Blimey.
was going to say. I was going to say, to me, they look like welterweights or middleweights.
Yeah. Yeah,
So I'm a little
agreed.
bit confused by that. But, you
No.
know, the pleasure man did look a bit smaller, to be fair. I think he came in on short notice. I think they mentioned that on the broadcast.
Yeah, rings a
And I
bell.
thought he'd done an all right job of fighting off the
I
ground
agree.
of this Almeida. And I think he
Yeah,
just got caught with only 30 seconds left to go in the round. And for me, that was a shame because I wanted to see exactly what you're saying there. I wanted to see this Almeida come out round two. What's he like? What are his shots? What are his takedowns like round two? Are they
yeah.
still, powerful? Is he still powerful in round two when he's got to stand up? Maybe when he gets a jab in the face or something like that. But we didn't get to see that because he sorted it. But I certainly wouldn't
Correct.
be, next time he gets a matchup, I wouldn't be popping down the bookies and going, well, I'll stick 10 quid on that Almeida because he looked amazing. So, no, like you, I didn't really see anything standing up because we didn't have a chance to, right? It's not a knock on him. We just didn't have a
Of
chance
course
to.
not. Yeah.
And I did get the impression, I thought, you know what? If this went to round two, I think this other guy could have, you remember like Rodolfo Vieira,
Oh, mate.
decorated
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu guy, but once it
Perfect
gets out of round
example.
one, once it gets out of round one, he's screwed, basically. And I
Yeah.
just want to see whether this guy falls into that category or whether he falls into, like you say, the Chimaev category, who can actually fight hard for 3 rounds or what have you. So
Well,
didn't really get to see
looking at
enough.
the
What we did
physique.
see was good, I
Yeah,
suppose.
of course. And absolutely. Very, very impressive. But it's just looking at the physique. Look, sometimes they can go against that. So Jacare's another one where you'd go, oh, he's gonna, and he's gonna be gassed out and all. But he was good, he was good. But this guy, look at his bod. I mean, he's muscle business. Is he going to be able to keep up all this? Like you say, he weren't wrestling; he was jiu-jitsu, I think. So I don't know. We'll see. He's had other fights in UFC, right? He's saying he's first. But what were they? You got a list there, please?
No, I ain't got a list. I really can't remember.
But can you would you mind having a look? Because you're saying his first fight, and I want to know what's happened in the other ones. Has he been round 3? Did he just mash them all in round 1? And who were they?
17 wins, 2 losses.
Nice.
Oh, go on. That's it. That's all I can see because Sherdog always wants me to agree to cookies and I ain't doing it.
Well, ban them.
So, yeah, but they put a big message across the screen and so I can't see. No.
Well, you're not very good at that job then, are you, of checking who he had a fight with and how many
So
UFC fights he's had?
he beat Parker Porter, who's that big, meaty
Oh, with the
heavyweight.
handlebar tosh.
That's it, yeah. So he beat him. So he's obviously
Heavyweight?
well, yeah. Bizarre, right?
Yeah. What's happening here?
So,
Huh. Okay. Right. You see, these things, what are we saying here? Fighting at heavyweight and I don't know. All right. Well, the jury's still out, but that performance was
he's won his
impressive.
3 UFC fights, I believe. So,
Okay. Who against and in what round? I told you. I don't know.
well, Parker Porter was round 1.
Yeah.
And Danilo Marquez was round 1. So that's why
Right.
people are obviously getting carried away, right? Because no one can get out of round 1. And this guy came the closest to getting out of round 1. This gigolo. But
Gigolo, yeah.
But like you say, we'll need to see when he gets in there with someone who can resist the takedown or two. That's when we'll really find out.
Look,
And also, what weight class is he going to be? Looks like he's going to struggle to lose much more weight to get to 205. And if he's a heavyweight, he's drastically undersized. So, be interesting to see.
It's difficult finishing fights. We've seen that. Very, very difficult job. And he's finishing them in the first round. That is impressive. But we've said it before. What's more impressive is seeing what people can deal with and the adversity they go through. And like you said about Chimaev, once you saw the Burns fight, you went, okay, now I think he's real deal. You saw more in that fight than you did in the ones where he just picked blokes up, took them over and strangled them or whatever. When
That's
you
the
saw
funny
that
thing,
fight,
right? Because most people were the other way round. They watched the Gilbert Burns fight and they went, I've seen chinks in the armour now.
right.
Maybe Chimaev ain't as big a deal as we thought he was. Whereas I watched that fight and went, no, he showed me that he can strike.
He's better.
He can take a fight. He can take a punch and keep on swinging. That he's got, a gas tank for 3 rounds to fight a hard 3 rounds. He doesn't take a backward step. He's got a real good fighter's mentality. I learned all those things about him I didn't know before. All this sort of like, oh yeah, but he got decked or whatever. It's like anyone can get pinged and knocked down. What is Anderson Silva crap because he got knocked down by Sonnen or Bisping or whatever? No, of course not.
The best.
So
yeah.
he's nothing to me. So, but the other stuff that he proved to me that I didn't know before did mean stuff. So
And that's what we're waiting for. That's what we're waiting for with Almeida, right? That's all.
that's right. Yeah.
Now, if he does his whole career and has 50 fights and he does them all in the first round, all right. Well, he's brilliant.
Yeah.
He's brilliant,
Yeah.
right? Because he didn't have to prove that he's that good. But that doesn't often tend to be the case, right? Because people are good, so other people are good. So we'll see. Next fight: Hakeem Dawodu versus Julian Juicy Erosa. This Juicy J bloke keeps winning, doesn't he?
Well, I owe him an apology.
Do you?
And I know he listens to the show. I am an
Okay,
apology.
well, you can air it now. No problem.
Well, I actually think I said that I thought this was a bit of a mismatch. I was like, Dawodu has had some good fights, some good wins. And I thought he was just sort of higher up the ladder than Erosa. And Erosa, I'm not going to say he's chinny, but he's quite easy to hit, right? Because he's so aggressive. And he kind of keeps his hands low and stuff like that. And I honestly just thought he was going to get banged out by Dawodu. I thought it was going to be a pretty easy night's work, if I'm being honest. And it was anything but. The only person who looked like they're going to get knocked out was Dawodu. And Erosa was brilliant because he not only won the striking battle, but he also won the grappling exchanges as well. So it was really, for me, it was really surprising. When he didn't finish in that first round, when he caught Dawodu really good, I went, you've blown your chance now, kid. You're probably going to get done in this fight. He didn't just come out one round, 2 and 3 as well. So I was like, right, okay. So you're just better than Dawodu. I mean, I was really quite surprised by it, if I'm being honest. And, Erosa has a very contentious loss to Paddy Pimblett in Cage Warriors. He lost that fight on a decision, but that was a hotly disputed one. I think I remember watching it and thinking, yeah, that was a dodgy decision. I think it might be the one where Pimblett threw up in the cage after the fight.
Right. Yeah.
So I think he had some issues in that fight. But that's quite an interesting little match. I don't know if they're the same weight anymore. I don't think they are. But
I can't see it. Surely not. No.
Well, this was again another catch weight of 149.5 pounds.
What this fight was? Okay, so you're right. It is a Pimblett weight then, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Dawodu missed weight basically.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, I know what you're saying skill-wise. You're right about Erosa and the way he fights. He can definitely leave himself open to being hit, but it does mean that he's in the fight and he's putting himself in the range to hit as well. And that's why he has fights where things happen, if you know what I mean. Sometimes he can be on the wrong end of it, but he's in there to have a fight. I actually think he's all right, isn't he?
I think he's good because he's been in the UFC before. He lost to Ishihara and then was he was in the McGregor-Faber finale and he won that fight. Then he lost to Ishihara, then went away, then came back, won on the Contender Series, but had 3 fights in the UFC and lost all 3 of them against Devontae Smith, Grant Dawson, and Julio Arce. Went away, won a fight away from the UFC, got a call back, and since then has won 5 out of 6. And
look at that great info.
But the thing about that is I like that when people go away and, if you like, improve and come back better. He's got wins over, the Nate Train, Nate Landwehr.
Oh, yeah, he's a big deal at the minute, isn't he? Because he's having exciting fights or whatever.
That's right, yeah. And he's got a win over Charles Jourdain, who's obviously
the best. Yeah, he's wicked, yeah.
Yeah, Dawodu. I mean, these are good, impressive wins, I have to say. So he's done really good to sort of go away, reinvent himself, and come back better. Brilliant.
Good for him. Absolutely fantastic. And like you say, it made for an amazing fight, but it was intriguing. It was good. All right.
Yeah, it was.
It's a lot of effort in.
Yeah, exactly. Erosa, he's not one of those guys who will try and point strike his way to a win or take the easy option. He's goes in there and has a smash. It's just one of those weird things because again, he don't look like he looks like someone who's gonna, I don't know, whatever, bring up your groceries for you, or I don't know, valet your car. He don't look like a guy who's, you know, punches people's lights out for a living. But
you're right. If you look at the, I mean, it's not like he's got a bad bod there or anything, but you're absolutely right. If you look at the comparisons, you know, he definitely trains and everything. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. So that's the prelims done of UFC 279. That's all good. Anything else to say on these prelims?
No, already said too much. You know,
all right. In that case, we'll
stop the channel.
We could do that, but we've already agreed that we can't do that because of Colin. We've got to carry on. Got to carry on because of Colin.
Bailey.
And Kieran Bailey, of course, the classic. That's right. Look, that's the prelims done.